Manchester United go through to the final of the FA Cup to face Manchester City. I couldn't take it, my heart. I was so nervous. And you know what? The players showed great bottle. They showed great mentality to come through that, having not played their best game. But defensively, I thought we were really good. Luke Shaw, amazing. Lindelof, fantastic. Wan-Bissaka, unreal. And Dalot, I thought was good as well. And that actually gave us the basis for today. After the back of, getting smashed against Sevilla, conceding 3 goals in the manner that we did, mistakes galore. No mistakes today. Togetherness was there today, fighting, running. And actually, yes, it wasn't our best performance. At the top end of the pitch, we couldn't really convert gilt-edged chances. We couldn't really make chances where it's like, oh my God, how did we not score? We didn't have any of those type of chances today, but neither did Brighton. And Brighton, that was exactly why I called this as a 50-50 game, because that game could have gone either way. When it goes to 120 minutes, no separation between extra time between the teams, and pretty much, quite a few penalties as well. It was going to take for somebody to miss the target. You felt like the keepers were never going to make a save today. It was going to take that little bit, that little difference maker. And that came from, I think it was Solly March, who it was, who missed his penalty completely, because I never felt like David was going to save one, and I think actually Sanchez got a hand on Sabitz's one. But anyway, performance. Look, it was about not making mistakes, starting the game okay, dealing with their press, dealing with how they play out, how they recycle the ball, dealing with the likes of Mitoma. And if I just talk about some of their individuals, Mitoma, we kept him very, very quiet, and that is thanks to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He was absolutely brilliant today. I don't know what he's on. I don't know what Wamby's on. I don't know what he's doing in training. I don't know what Eric Ten Hag has said to him. I don't know what he's changed in his personal regime or whatever. Or maybe he hasn't changed anything. I don't know. But he is just on another level right now. Honestly, he a lot of people have said he clamped Mitoma. Mitoma has been one of the best players in the league this year. He's been on fire. But to keep him relatively quiet like Wan-Bissaka did, actually shouldn't be a surprise to us. That's what he does in 1v1 situations. You don't get past Wamby. That's what he does. He locks up attackers. The very best as well. So big up to him. I think Luke Shaw coming in at centre back was absolutely unreal. He just gave that balance. He just gave what we've been missing there, but in the absence of Martinez, because Martinez, obviously not just being left-footed, but he brings that calmness, he brings that composure on the ball. He's good in the duels, he's good in the battles, he likes to win the ball. And Luke Shaw's a slightly different style to that, to Martinez. He's not as aggressive, but he's solid on the ball. He understands where he needs to be. He brings calmness. He doesn't panic. He fouls when he should foul. He doesn't foul when he shouldn't foul. And him and Lindelof actually made the perfect partnership. There's going to be, different tests to come, and there's going to be other games where they play, and we might not have such a good game together. But that has to be the centre-back partnership going forward for sure. We're out of the Europa League, so we should get a little bit more rest in the midweeks. I know there's a couple of Premier League games to play. I know that, but that has to be the two that play together. They were really, really good. I think Lindelof as well was fantastic. The way he kept stepping out of the back line to go and engage in whether it was Welbeck or whether it was Alexis McAllister, the way he kept reading danger. I think he put himself on the line and come across really well to get an interception and win a foul against Danny Welbeck in a dangerous situation. I just think, again, Lindelof, something we've labelled at his doorstep is maybe being a little bit soft. What's he like in physical duels? And he didn't really have to get involved in many physical duels today, but his understanding of the game, and again, he brings an element of calmness. He always wants the ball. You can give it to him on both feet. He's comfortable. He can play out from the back. He has an element of press resistance. I'm not saying he's amazing on the ball. He's not Martinez, but again, he's a steady Eddie. He'll give you a solid 6 and 7s every game when you give him a run of games, and he's the perfect centre-back to actually bring in. Keeps his head down. Doesn't moan if he's not playing, keeps himself ready and available, and when you need him, he comes in like this. And actually, he's going to have a massive say, as will Luke Shaw, on how we end this season and going into this game against City, which is obviously in June, because some of the reports are saying that Varane's going to be out for the rest of the season. I haven't seen that as concrete yet, but some reports were suggesting that's going to be a 6 weeks injury for him. And also we know what happened with Martinez. So on Lindelof and Shaw, I think they complemented each other really, really well and gave us that platform to go off as well. Dalot, I thought was good. He was solid as well, defensively playing in that left back position. Got up and down well once Mitoma had gone off. Once Mitoma Once Wan-Bissaka had gone off after putting in a really good shift against Matoma, he went to right back and he done okay there as well. Defensively good, some good runs forward. Not as good as the other defenders. I wouldn't put him on that sort of 8-9 level, but a very, very steady performance by Diogo. Really, really good. And David De Gea, you know what? I think I was so down on Thursday night, and it's funny how football changes so quickly with the range of emotions. I was so down, and the mistakes that David De Gea made in that game were really, really bad. And you wondered, it was all about starting good. You know, how were the Brighton fans and the players going to play off David De Gea and his distribution? Were they going to press? And they didn't really press him, to be fair. Couple of you know, dodgy kicks here or there where the Brighton fans were getting onto him behind the goal. But by and large, he was fine. But most importantly, and I'm not trying to just fling this, do you know what, that whole De Gea thing of should he stay, I haven't even got the stomach for it right now. I saw things on Thursday night that I couldn't unsee, which I understand, and I know a lot of you guys have been saying it. But today was one of those games where it wasn't about his distribution. It wasn't about him having to come for crosses. It was more about between the sticks, stand up, make the saves that you need to save. And he did that. He made some decent saves today. Saves that by his standards he should save. Apart from maybe that free kick in the first half, it was a really good outstretched arm. That was a good save. But all the rest of them I expect him to save. But he made a save where got down to his left, then got back up and gathered it. You know, quite sharp, and some decent distribution as well. So I think he managed to settle himself down and show good mentality after the back of what was awful, absolutely awful on Thursday night. He did well today. Midfield, I wasn't that impressed with us, you know. I think we did okay because we created some chances. I think Casemiro still hasn't got back into his groove from being out for them 4 games. He hasn't been great. Sevilla at home, he wasn't amazing. Forest at home, although the team played well, he was actually probably one of the ones who were more average. Away in Seville, didn't see him. Like we didn't see a lot of players. That was a whole team thing. Nobody played well in that game. And again today, I mean, Craig Pawson was absolutely shocking refereeing, disgusting. You know, not giving any yellow cards to them, silly fouls, not giving them. Gives the Casemiro the yellow card. Haven't seen that back yet, so I don't even know if it definitely was a yellow card. But as soon as Casemiro was on that tightrope of the yellow card, it felt like a tightrope. Like just before half time, going into some tackles, selling himself short, giving away the ball. He wasn't the Casemiro that we've been seeing this season. So yeah, it was a fairly average performance from him. Bruno, I thought was good in the first half. You know, got into some great positions. We definitely needed him back, and you can see what having him back gave to us. It literally helped us. And Eriksen again, some good moments going forward, some good moments creating chances, getting chances himself. Second half, not so much. So the midfield did okay. They did okay, but there was a lot of average performances there. But again, they did dig in though. You know, it wasn't like we got bypassed in midfield and we kept getting peppered because nobody was running. You know, actually Marcus Rashford, I think, which I'll get to in a sec, but because he wasn't doing as much defensive work as he was playing too high up for me. I think he needed to drop sort of 10-15 yards and help out Dalot. But actually it was Christian Eriksen who was coming across in that time and Bruno coming across in that time when it should have been Marcus Rashford for a lot of that first half. So they worked hard, but I just think the little bits of quality, little bits of loose balls that you'd expect Eriksen to clear up and then make the final pass weren't there on that consistent basis. But other times, you know, he plays a sweeping pass out to, I think, Marcus Rashford, or was it Martial in the first half? Like I said, gets on the end of a through pass from Rashford. Actually, yeah, he passes it to Rashford. It was actually just near the end of the half. Passes it to Rashford. Great sweeping pass. Gets himself in the box. Probably should take a touch to then drive it, but didn't manage to do that. So yeah, not the best in midfield, but they were okay. It's actually the front three were the ones that were leaving a little bit to be desired for. Anthony was probably the best out of them. I think he worked hard. He worked tirelessly as per usual. But again, it was a game where if it's not going well for you there, can you dig in and show mentality? And actually, I've got to give credit to Brighton. Let's not, you know, we can't just talk about ourselves. Brighton were fantastic at times. You know, the way that they play, the way they pass out from the back, the system that they have is brilliant. And we did well to actually keep, you know, kind of not really let them get gilt-edged chance. Brighton never had a chance where I went, oh my God, they've peppered us. How did they not score? Oh my God, what a save from De Gea. Because we defended really well, you know, and we worked really hard. And, you know, if it's not going for you, you have to show minerals. And talking about minerals, when the game goes to when the game goes to penalties, it is about minerals and the fine margins. And we scored a lot of penalties. You saw them, they choked at the first sign. Not the first sign, but eventually it was who was going to be first to choke. And luckily for us, it was Brighton. But not luckily for us in terms of keeping our composure and our skill. We scored all of our penalties. And players stepped up today. in that penalty shootout. Players, you know, Wout Weghorst receives a lot of criticism for not scoring enough goals, gets his penalty down, scores his goal. Sabitzer, new to the team, comes in January. Yeah, Sanchez might have got a hand on it. That's do or die for Sabitzer them. They've scored all of their penalties to that point, Brighton, and Sabitzer needs to keep us in the tie. And he does, scores his penalty. Jadon Sancho, thought he'd come off the bench and looked okay. Some lively little moments, not amazing in open play, that's not what I mean. But again, the bottle, the mentality. Last time he was here with England taking a penalty, we know how that happened. Same with Rashford as well. So for those guys to come through those moments, and all the penalty takers, Casemiro didn't have the best game, but on the flip side, I'm taking the first penalty. I'm going to step up. I'm going to be a leader. And we finished, I think, the game with like 4 first-team starters. So, you know, when you're looking at, you know, the likes of, you know, Sabitzer was on the pitch. Who else took a penalty? Wout Weghorst, you know, Jadon Sancho. These are players that, you know, haven't maybe, you know, lighting it up every single time they play, but they've stepped up in the moments and got us to the final. And just to finish off, look, all of this time we're talking about City doing the 3P, we're talking about City doing the treble, and it's becoming more real now. I've got one message to the players. At the end of the day, I've been in this mode of I want Arsenal to win the league so that, you know, they stop City doing this, and I want Real Madrid to beat them because it stops City doing that. Actually, forget all that. Let's have it. It's a Manchester derby at Wembley in June. Stop City doing it. And it's a chance for us to get another trophy. Yes, we can talk about stopping City do this, stopping City do that. But what about ourselves? Let's look at ourselves first. It's a double bubble. By winning another trophy this season, we can also stop City from winning the treble. And that's what I'm on. Let's focus on ourselves. If we lose against them, then we can't be dependent on Arsenal to have done something, or Real Madrid or AC Milan/Inter Milan to have done something. We didn't do it ourselves. If City get the treble, it's our fault. It's our fault. That's how I see it. Let's have it. And every single one of these Manchester United players should be thinking the same thing. Let's go and beat City in a one-off game in a neutral ground. That place is going to be absolutely rocking with knowing what's on. I know, obviously, we're assuming City would have won the league by then. But you never know. But we're assuming that they will. And I think the Champions League final, should they get there, will be after this game. So, but it doesn't matter. We've got to do our jobs. And our job is to beat Manchester City. And this is coming from me. He's been quite down in the last couple of days because Seville took a lot out of me. I was really, really down after Seville. And to go from that, feeling like I wanted the season to end, to literally 120 minutes of football, very nervous, a big round of penalties. And you know what, for Victor Lindelof to score the decisive penalty, he really deserved that because I think he was excellent. He could have arguably man of the match. Between him and Shaw, man of the match. I know a lot of people gave it to Wan-Bissaka, but Lindelof easily. So that's my man of the match, Lindelof. But for him to be ice cold vein Lindelof and dispatch that penalty was fantastic. Bring on City. Take care, guys. See you again soon. Oh, actually, Spurs. Oh my goodness. Just really quickly, Spurs. So there you go. Look how football changes within the space of a few days. Go to Spurs on Thursday. If we beat them, surely that's top 4 done as well. Spurs, disgraces and cheats.
Spurs are shit.
Absolute embarrassment. Honestly. And how funny it was, really, still wasn't as bad as the 7-0. We've still got the worst result of the season. But being 5-0 down after 20 minutes is a disgrace and a cheat. That is worse than, well, no, 7-0 is worse. But anyway, Spurs, shit. So let's go and put the final nail in their coffin on Thursday night, which will be a tough away game. And us away from home, we've been struggling. But well done, the boys. Great reaction. And we're through. We're through. What?